Hi, and welcome. If you haven't taken my classes or done my YouTubes, thanks for joining. A lot of you were asking for more hip work, similar to some things that we've been doing lately. So grab your mat and join me. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe so then you'll be notified when I put up more of these videos. So let's get started. All right, so the hip, to get started, is a joint, as we all know. It's the thigh bone and the pelvis, and the head of the femur, the thigh bone, rotates in the pelvis. Also, you can rotate the pelvis on the steady thigh bone. You can also externally rotate and internally rotate. So it's really a full service joint because it's a ball and socket, opposed to a hinge joint like the knee or the elbow. So let's just start, and to open the hips, we're going to release the low back. So you'll bring your knees fairly close together, big toes to touch, but don't have your one foot crossing on top of the other foot. Just big toes, inner edges touching each other. Bring your hips back to your heels, and then you can either stack your forearms, depending on your low back mobility. You might bring a block or a pillow under your head, or just simply stack your palms. And then give yourself just a moment here to just notice what you're feeling. Notice where you feel tense and where you feel that automatic lengthening response. So typically, there's some tension in the shoulders. So to alleviate that, instead of pulling the tops of the shoulders down your back, away from your ears, approach it from the front of the body. So feel as if you're pressing your chest, the center of the chest, down towards your knees. Notice how that gives your upper back a sense of release, and you feel longer in the neck. What you've actually done is created more space across the front of the chest, meaning it's like you're stretching it, and you've contracted the upper back slightly. Now notice your sitting bones, those two golf ball or walnut-sized nuggets that you sit on. Notice if they are lifted away from your heels. So we can't just simply press them down unless we have something like a sandbag on our low back or somebody's hands on our low back guiding them down. But we can do it with our own muscle work. So if we want to lengthen through the low back, what we need to do is contract the front of the body. So the lower belly, this region called transverse abdominals. So pull your navel in like you're doing a sit-up or a crunch, and reach your sitting bones towards your heels. So as you pull your navel in, you might even feel some contraction on the front of the hip, but as you do it also, you're pulling the front of the pelvis up towards your ribs. So here you are, contracting your front core to lengthen through the low back, and then you're opening the front of the chest by pressing the heart center down towards your knees, and a mild contraction of the upper back. There's freedom in the neck, your jaw's relaxed, and then you're just breathing here. An outside observer might not even notice the work you're doing. So just stay for another moment, reaching your hips towards your heels as you pull your belly in, and pressing your chest down towards your knees as you pull your shoulders from your ears. You might even need to adjust the head. You might need to widen your elbows or walk your hands further back towards your legs. Just notice, because you've changed the work in the body, you might need to move some of the bones. Slowly make your way up. You should have noticed a lot of work in the lower belly. I did. And as you make your way up, come through a few cow postures, lifting your chest and your sitting bones. You're rotating the pelvis on the thigh bone and the hip joint. And then draw your lower belly in, arch your back to the ceiling. And then flow through here a few more times. Inhale, as your chest lifts, you stay looking down. Exhale, pull your belly in. One more time, big breath in, and big breath out. From here, curl your toes under. You might need to shimmy the feet back and come into a high plank pose. In your high plank, rock a little forward on your toes. Press the mat away, crease of the elbow forward. Again, look down, back of the head to the ceiling. From here, pull your belly in, hike your hips to your downward facing dog. If you haven't warmed up and done a dog pose yet today, you might want to bend your left knee. You can even walk your left foot up slightly, like about 8 inches. Press your left ribs onto your left thigh bone and lift your sits bones up. Feel the extension through the elbows. Notice the space in the shoulders as you rotate the crease of the elbow forward. Pull your lower belly back. Stay here. Breathe in and breathe out. Take the left foot back, and let's do the same thing with the right. Just about 8-10 inches, step the right foot forward. Your feet appear to be on a railroad track. You'll bring your right side of your ribs to your right thigh. Lift your sits bones up as you press the left heel down and extend through the elbows. Notice any tension in the neck. Let the head drop. Keep lifting your sits bones up, staying tight in your front core, strong in your arms. Breathe in and breathe out. Let's take the right leg back. Return to your full expression of down dog, reaching your heels towards the floor, lifting your hips towards the ceiling, staying firm in your core and strong in your arms, hugging upper arms in. One more breath. Inhale. Exhale, high on your tippy toes, knees down to the floor, tabletop. Notice if you need to release, come into cow posture, and then make your way into your cat. All right, focus on the transition here. You're going to look down, and we'll be moving from what I call bird dog into modified half moon. Bird dog is like a modified warrior 3. Press the mat away, crease of the elbows forward, pull your belly in, and then just take your left leg back. The toes are curled under. Now notice, kind of wiggle your hips a little side to side. Notice that mobility. We're going to strengthen through the surrounding muscles of the joint. So the first thing you're going to do is press your right thigh bone, right hip back, pull your lower belly in, and feel yourself almost lift your heart, your chest, and bring it forward. Stay looking down. Lift your back leg up. So your left leg, lift it up, press back through the heel, and pull the belly in. And then if you like, reach your right arm forward. So notice if you're sort of hanging and slouching in the posture, keep pulling your lower belly in, your ribs away from your shirt, and give yourself another breath. Inhale. And on the exhale, keep the left leg lifted. Bring the right hand down to the mat. You'll pivot on your right knee and kick the right toes off the mat to the right. Press down through the right hand and open into your modified half moon. Squeeze your outer hips and your glutes. Look and make sure if your left foot is swinging back, bring it forward so you can see the top of the foot. So you want to be aligned ankle, knee, and hip. Belly pulls back. So notice that action of pulling the front of the pelvis up. And then look up to your top hand. Give yourself another moment. Breathe in. And on the breath out, take your left hand down. Lower your left foot to the floor. Bring your right leg back. And then you're in a high plank. Rock forward on your toes and lift your hips. Downward facing dog pose. Give yourself a moment here. Just notice the movement of breath in and out. stretch the mat more forward and reach your hips more towards the floor. And not just stretching, but also engaging by pulling your belly in and then squeeze your leg muscles to the bone. Imagine you're holding an apple between your knees. Squeeze it tight. One more breath. Inhale. And on the exhale, knees down to the mat. And we'll come into the second side. Take the right leg back. Notice when you take the leg back, if you pull the hip back as well. So what you're going to do to adjust is draw the crease of the left hip back to balance the pelvis. Pull the lower belly in, and then you'll lift your right leg up. Press back through the right heel, squeeze the right buttock, and then look down and reach your left arm forward. As you're reaching your left arm forward, keep pulling your front ribs in and give yourself another inhale. And an exhale. One more time. Big breath in. And on the exhale, you'll take your left hand, bring it down, pivot, bring the left foot off the mat. The right leg did not lower, and then you start to open. So as you're reaching back through the right heel, flexing the foot, make sure you can see the top of the foot. And then you'll reach your right arm up to the ceiling. As you stretch the right arm, reaching it up, notice how you open the left side of your chest. Your belly pulls back. And then squeeze your outer hips, squeeze your buttocks, hug leg muscle to bone. Bring the right hand down. You'll bring the left foot back onto the mat and lower the right foot. You'll make your way back to your high plank. Rock forward on your toes. Press the mat away, belly in, down dog. Give yourself just a moment in down dog. Notice the movement of breath in your body. Stay here for an inhale. Let the neck relax as you exhale. One more time. Big breath in. And on a breath out, high on your tippy toes, knees return to the mat. And you step your right foot forward, coming into a tight low lunge. So meaning that your left hip is directly over your left knee. Here, start to pull the front rim of the pelvis up. Notice how, again, you can rotate your pelvis on your thigh bone like you do in cat-cow. All right, so what we want is a posterior tuck. So press down the back foot, the left, pull the front of the pelvis up as you draw your belly in and reach your arms up. Rotate your palms to face the back of your space and then start to lunge forward. As you're lunging forward, notice that the pelvis tilts forward and down. Keep lifting the front of the pelvis up. Squeeze back buttock. Pull belly in and feel a lift to the chest. Stay here for an inhale. And on an exhale, hands down to the mat. You'll pull your belly in and take your right leg back to your high plank. Rock forward on your toes as you lead with your belly to lift your hips to downward dog. Give yourself another breath in time here. Inhale. And exhale. High on your tippy toes, knees down to the mat. Left leg steps forward to your tight low lunge. Right hip directly over the knee. So take a peek. And then the back foot, you're pressing the top of the foot down into the floor. I like to say, imagine you've got a pedicure and you're messing it up. And then just notice this movement of the pelvis on the steady thigh bone. All right, so now again, let's pull the front rim of the pelvis up. You'll press down with your right foot, squeeze your right buttock, and reach your arms up. And then start to feel as if you're pressing the pelvis forward as you're drawing the belly back, and then the heart moves forward. Hug your inner thighs together. Stay here. Upper arms move down, fingers reach up. Inhale. And on the exhale, hands down to mat. This time, Curl your back toes under and step forward. We're coming into mountain pose. So bring the hands to the shins. Come into a half lift. Exhale, chin to chest, fold. Root through your inner feet. Reverse swan dive, reach. Exhale, arms float to your side. Bring your palms to face forward. And what you're doing is creating this external rotation of the upper arm and the shoulder to stabilize the back and bring space across the chest between the two armpits. With that, start with your feet. Press down through the heel. Notice how the weight draws back. Then press down through the mound below the big toe and the outer foot. Hug your inner thighs together. Lengthen your tailbone down as you pull your belly back. Feel your chest move forward. Stay here for an inhale and exhale. Let's come into a little flow. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, open chest, fold forward. Hands will come to your shins, a half lift. Bend your knees, hands down to the mat, high plank. Press the mat away, rock forward on your toes, downward facing dog. Give yourself just a moment so you can be here, notice this breath, and notice this moment in this posture. Standing on your left foot, you'll lift your right leg up. Take it slow. Look at your right toes. Make sure they point towards the floor. Press back with your right heel. Press your left heel to the floor as you're stretching the mat forward. Then draw your right knee into your nose. Come onto the ball of the left foot. Hike your hips up and then step forward. High crescent lunge, arms sweeping up. So in this posture, we can bring the hips up and feel less. So what we want to do is bring the hips down to feel more. Press down through the inner right foot and draw your right hip back. Hug your inner thighs together and then feel yourself lift the front rim of the pelvis up. Give yourself a moment, pulling belly in, inhale. And on the exhale, open to your warrior two. So again, we want to bring the hips, the pelvis down. So make sure you've got enough space between your front heel and back arch. Back foot's at an angle, so you can drop the pelvis. Now we're not sagging in the joints, but we're lifting out of them. So when the head of the right thigh bone moves down, then you pull the front rim of the pelvis up. So you feel as if you're pressing the front of both hips into the space your belly faces. And when you do that, you might need to relax your toes. Feel the contraction of outer hips and buttocks. And then feel yourself reaching the right knee away and then back to the pinky toe as you reach back through the left arm to keep left shoulder stacked over hip. Stay here, inhale. And on the exhale, straighten your front leg. You might need to shorten your stance for goddess or horse pose. You'll turn your toes out, heels in, and then make a letter L with both your hands and bring it to the top of the thigh bone at the hip. And then bend the knee. So you can feel the top of the thigh bone and its descent. Grab onto the hips. Pull the front of the pelvis up. They ascend. So thigh bones down, pelvis up to create space in the joint. And then relax your toes again and come into your goalpost arms. Now this is where we're going to have a little fun. Strong in the feet, pressing down, strong in the legs, hinge forward. So you're rotating the pelvis, reach your sitting bones back, look down, pull your belly in tight. And then feel as if you're lifting your elbows away from the floor. We'll hinge back up, sit low, scoop belly in. Again, hinge forward and back up. One more time. Let's lead with the sitting bones, the back of the hips, fold forward, pull belly
in, relax the neck, lift your elbows, and back up. Open the arms wide. We're coming to the left to warrior two. So you're facing what is the back of your mat. You might need to adjust the feet. So give a little peek and then bend the left knee. As you do that, notice if the outer right hip is wrapping forward. Draw right thigh bone, right hip into your back body. Press left knee into your back body. And then as the top of the left thigh bone descends, pull the front rim of the pelvis up. Give yourself another inhale breath here. And long exhale, let it go. Flip the hand, revolve. Keep the knee bent as you reach back, and then windmill your hands down to the floor. Make your way into your high plank, and then lift your hips. Downward facing dog. So just a moment here. Have some fun being in a different space on your mat, having a different view, a different perspective. Just breathe in and out. Okay, we'll lift the left leg. So the right heel keeps reaching for the floor as you lift the left leg up. Notice that the left toes point to the left. Keep them facing straight down as you press back through the left heel. Feel yourself hug your outer right hip in and draw it back. Then draw the left knee into your nose. Come onto the ball of the right foot. Lift your hips high. Step forward. Sweep your arms up. High crescent lunge. So you bring your hips down. Draw the left hip crease back. Feel your right inner thigh lifting to the ceiling. Belly scoops in. Feel the chest lift. Look forward. Just breathe in. And breathe out. One more time. Inhale. And on the exhale, open to your warrior two. So check your alignment. You might need to scoot or shimmy your left foot more forward. Back foot's at an angle so you can drive your right heel down. Squeeze your right buttock and feel the lift of the pelvis as you reach your left knee more forward. Stay here, inhale. Exhale. Straighten your left leg. Return to horse pose or goddess. Top of the thigh bone moving down. So you're coming into the squat, and then you're pulling the front rim of the pelvis up, and you're in your goalpost arms. All right, press your knees back, pull your belly in, and feel your chest open. And then hinge forward. You're bringing the torso parallel to the floor, shoulders to hip height, and then drive the feet down, pull the belly in, hinge back up. We'll do that a few times. As you hinge forward, lift your elbows away from the floor and pull belly in. So just feel how your pelvis is rotating on a steady thigh bone. Takes a lot of core strength, a lot of leg strength as well to stay secure. Let's do it one more time. And then we'll return to warrior two on the right. It's not about getting it right, it's about just doing it. So when we do it, do a pose, we're actually building this muscle awareness and strength, and what is a challenge today will flow with ease tomorrow. So that's sort of the joy of yoga. It's the practice. Breathe in and breathe out. Flip your right hand, revolve, and then windmill your hands down to the floor, high plank, and then hips lift to your downward facing dog. Give yourself a moment here, breathe in and breathe out. And one more time, big breath in and breath out. Bring your knees down to the mat, and we're going to return to child's pose where we started, with knees close, big toes touching but not layering on top of each other. You can even move the flesh of your seat. Walk your hands forward, either forehead on
your back of hands, your forearms stacked, or even a prop. So first, just let the body feel heavy. Just lean into the exhale. Let it all go. And then pull your lower belly in. Notice how that moves the shoulders, the shoulder girdle, the whole shoulder structure down, meaning back towards your hips. And you might need to walk your hands closer to your knees. Keep pulling belly in, and then feel yourself pressing the center of your chest towards your knees. Belly in, center of chest to knees. Make any adjustments. You might need to take your head and move it on your surface. So more of your hairline is moving down. And then just give yourself a few moments. It's work. Don't think you're just kind of hanging out here. You should feel like that burning sensation in your belly. If you're of a certain age, you might remember doing Jane Fonda videos and Make It Burn. That's what's happening. Just give yourself another breath. And then slowly walk the hands back up. And you can, if you like, take a savasana, lie down on your back and relax, or wrap it up here. So have a great rest of your day or evening, and until next time, namaste.